This is going to be, a nice prelude into our majority of the conversation in this podcast. What we're going to be doing is, ever since we got back from California, it's just been, I don't know if it's jet lagged, I don't know if we're getting used to the time zone difference, but we are shot. I've been having migraines every single day since we've gotten back. We got back last week.
Yeah.
It's just painful. And you, other issue.
My internal clock, ladies and gentlemen, and TMI, but if you're this far into our podcast, then, you're one of us.
You're medical issues?
Yeah, you're one of us. Yeah, so I had, and Nick can contest, he can vouch for me on this. When I got down to California, now mind you too, I think our setup, shout out to Candace, because it was her idea, our way of going about traveling, okay, because we don't really travel that much on a plane for that long, okay? We've been to places, our max time on a plane together was it was Miami, and then
2.5 hours.
Florida. It was Fort Lauderdale for me back in 2021 also. So 2 hours. I've been on a plane to South Carolina with family. That was an hour and a half in the air. This was our first time. I'm happy we got to experience it together.
Yeah.
We were on a plane for like 5.5, 6 hours. And let me tell you,
You feel it.
I had. Okay, so this is. I'm gonna explain before I get in to what happened to me, okay? But I had the worst jet lag, and I thought I was dying, okay? I'm not even trying to be a hypochondriac because you know me, but I felt so off, and it wasn't like I was nauseous or sick. It was like my internal clock, my body thought it was, when it's 9 p.m. there, it's really 12 o'clock a.m. here. So it was but we all experienced it differently. Like, you started to feel it a little bit after I did. I was just so like,
You felt it immediately, right?
I felt it immediately. I got off the
Yeah.
plane, my ankles were sore, and I heard that's a thing too, when your ankles fill up with, you get fluid in your ankles.
Oh shit, really?
Not that it's actual fluid, but it's your ankles get swollen. So I felt that, and I'm
My
like,
knees
it's
killed
normal.
me because
Yeah.
we're in economy and I'm 6 foot.
Yep.
And my
Economy.
knees are slamming into the person in front of me. Yeah, that was really rough for 6 hours.
Next time we do Economy Plus for an extra however many dollars.
Did you see how nice business was when you
It
walked by
looked
them?
like an apartment
Oh my
complex.
god, it was their own
It looked like an
thing.
apartment complex.
It's so cute. It was so, yeah, they have their own thing and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they just rest like this and everything. It literally looks like a
Talk
studio
about
apartment.
comfortably flying and living. Like, that's the way to go. We
So
have
expensive.
to, yeah.
So expensive though.
Yeah, and
One day we have to do first class. We're gonna have to save up for something like that.
it's crazy when
First
you
class.
enter the plane. I noticed because the first place I looked toward was the front of first class, and these people, okay, I'm like, damn, like all these people, they got little shades. Like, I kind of peeked in a little bit, but it's like secured off. But
You know what's worse when you look in and you see children.
yeah,
You're just like,
these kids will never grow up knowing the struggle of how it is in an economy. But you know what, though? You make the best out of an economy, too. There's actually, I learned this, too, because I'm so new to this. We're both new to flying.
Very, yeah.
But apparently, we were group 3, right?
Yeah.
Group 4, and I think group 5. Group 5, you're not even allowed on a carry-on. You're only allowed on one personal item, and if there's like a mess up with your, I think your flight, Candace was telling us this, too, but if there's a mess up with your flight, it's not guaranteed that they'll find you a place. So it's all
you're
depending
treated
on.
like shit.
And I'm like, that must be like drastically a couple $100 cheaper. Am I right?
It
Like,
has
that's
to
gotta
be.
be.
For those risks,
Yeah.
it has to be. It has to be, yeah.
And I did see some people on group 5 because when Candace told us that, I was kind of just like, oh, I was like, I looked around and the people on group 5, they only had a backpack on.
Yep, only
Like,
backpack, yeah,
like
yeah.
what are you doing?
Don't
Like,
allow to carry on. No
were you-
suitcases.
you came to Jersey with nothing? Like,
It was really strange.
it was strange.
Yeah.
Different crowd of people.
Massive plane though. That was the biggest plane we've ever been on. It had 3 rows.
Yeah,
so it
the
had
plane
one
ride
massive-
back. The plane ride there to California, it was a regular, it was just regular.
two rows.
Yeah, we flew United, everybody. That was
United was awesome, honestly. I had no problems with it. Frontier sucked. Spirit is terrible. The one we went on was actually really, really good, honestly. We can go into our California trip because I know
gosh.
we're not the best at traveling wise, but
No.
the trip.
No.
I will start off by saying I love California. The vibes were awesome there. Enough that we have had conversations of being like, how much is a 1-bedroom there?
You know
What is
what?
it there?
Not far off from Jersey, and here we are,
It's not bad.
like, not struggling, but at the same time, it's like, New Jersey, like, I had this burst of, like, motivation when I was out in California,
dude,
and I remember I
right.
kept telling Nick, like, why can't we come out here and make something, like, what stops us from doing that,
Yeah.
Like, we see a bunch of, not to, like, I can't speak for every person in California, but we saw a lot of things go down in California. We did.
And we're gonna get into
We're
it.
gonna get into all that and more. It was an experience and a half, you know.
All for 5 days, honestly. We weren't there even for a week.
But-
5 days, we saw a lot. We did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We were staying in Marina Del Rey for
Beautiful.
the majority of the time. We rented out Teslas. We had a whole experience and everything.
Talk about like a bougie experience. The Teslas were
That's awesome.
that was an experience to get to the Teslas at first because we
Yeah.
used what was it called?
It was an app called Toro.
Toro.
So Toro is basically like a person's owning that car and you could rent it out instead of going through like Hertz or Enterprise or something, because those are really, really expensive. For like 2 Teslas, the thing that we got, it was like $500 a pop for 5 days.
It was not bad whatsoever, and the cars
Yeah, it
were
was
really good. Besides,
That's awesome.
besides the when you rent out from people. Now this is the thing I feel like with when you rent out from a car dealership, you don't run into this problem.
Yeah.
But what we ran into was our vehicle. We had a red Tesla and we had a black Tesla. So when we first started off, I think you picked up the red Tesla from your owner because one was under, I think, your name, right?
Mine was under my name, yeah.
And the other one was under our friend Candace's.
Yeah.
And that was the black one. So when Nick went to go meet up with his owner to go get his vehicle, well, which was, we got the black one.
Black one was cool.
Black
It was all-
one. It was
all
like
black.
Batman. Okay.
It was really cool.
Nick had a ball. I wasn't allowed to drive, as you guys know from
I
previous
said
stories.
you could drive in the parking lot, and I offered it to you.
You know, but then again, the crazy thing about Teslas, though, is what we learned was that it's all recorded. Okay. Everything we do in that car, it was recorded. There's actually a funny moment too. I remember where we were talking about like Nick. You talked about like the owner of yours, and you were just like, yeah, like she was actually really cute. And I'm like, if you're listening in this vehicle on your phone app, can you please let my friend know if you're interested?
She was flirting 100%.
Oh.
No, I picked up the car and she was just like, "Oh, yeah, this is so and so and everything." She's like, "Is this your first time being here?" I was like, "Yeah, it's first time being here."
Yeah.
And then she was just like, "Well, if you need a tour guide," I was just like, "Oh." I was just like,
Tour guide. We love a nice special
like, oh.
cameo from a Californian.
It was vibes, and it took a while to get used to being in a Tesla too. We both drive gas cars, of course, but when I was driving it, it takes a lot to get used to because I have the main thing in the middle of the column. Everything is just from that small thing going in reverse, going in drive, and the thing brakes on its own. A thing I learned when I got back and I drove my own car and almost slammed into a tree. Dude, it's insane. Like driving that thing is awesome. We were in hours of traffic majority of the time. We'll get into the traffic of California.
Speaking of traffic, okay, that just rung a bell in my head.
Mhm.
I read an article this week. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna get through it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Apparently, out of the entire world, New Jersey's rated #1 worst state to drive in as far as traffic goes, and followed up behind that is California. I don't know whether or not it's just because we know where everything is. Well, I can't speak for myself, but you feel comfortable with your surroundings that you don't notice how long you're sitting in traffic for versus somebody in New Jersey who's never lived in New Jersey. But the traffic, like if you're, like you said, you know, if we are driving and it's 40 minutes away in New Jersey, it's going to take 40 minutes to get there.
Yes.
In California, if it says 40 minutes, it means 2.5 hours.
Dude, it doesn't make any sense.
Brutal.
It said half a mile takes 7 minutes. I was like, how is that possible?
It took you, I think, one day we were coming back from Disney. We're on our way to Disney. Yeah.
So we were in Burbank because we went to go see. We'll go into this too. We went to go see Warner Brothers. We went to the studio and everything. It was really, really awesome experience. That's where you got the.
I'm pointing at my hat, my audio folks.
That's where you got the fucking hat.
Yeah, I have a hat on.
So we were driving from Burbank and we were trying to go pick up our friend in Disney. It said that like it was like 35 or 40 miles was going to take 2 hours. I was like, how? I was like, how is this possible? And we were in bumper to bumper, not moving. At one point, we were on a street for 20 minutes, just not moving. I have
1 mile.
It doesn't make any sense. The state's massive. How is
Where's
there so
everyone
much
going?
congestion?
That's my thing. You know?
New York, I get. New York, everybody's trying to
tight.
go into. It's very tight, very tight streets, very, very minimal stuff. It's not that big Manhattan to begin with. I totally understand that.
Yep.
But California's massive. It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense. And that's coming from someone who doesn't know, like, you know, where Hazard Heights is from here.
I conquered both now.
Nick,
that's awesome.
Let me tell you something. You're putting on your resume, okay, of like just manly things to do and like what you come with. I feel like it's all about. I swear to God, like you know, it's an action figure. Okay, this man knows how to drive in New Jersey, New York City, now California. Okay, you consider the upstates a thing too.